Vancouver, Washington, there's a woman named Mishi Malent. Mishi's gone missing, but she's not alone. Her 6-year-old daughter, Layla, has vanished with her. Today, I've got a case for you. A crime that unfolded in Washington, and it's a wild one. Here's what happened. Mishi's mom started feeling something was off. She hadn't heard a peep from Mishi, no calls, no news. She tried ringing her daughter, but Mishi wasn't picking up. Her phone was off. So, the mom went to Mishi's place. Now, Mishi and Layla lived alone in that apartment. Mishi's what you'd call a single mom, the only one responsible for her little girl. The two of them shared that space, just them against the world. So, when the mom got there and saw Mishi wasn't answering and her phone was dead, she went to check on her. But the apartment, empty. No Mishi, no Layla. The mom was stunned. She started asking around the neighbors. Friends, nobody knew where they'd gone. Frantic, she headed to the police station on March 18th to report her daughter and granddaughter missing. The police jumped into action, filing the report for Mishi and Layla's disappearance. But here's the twist. They found out Mishi didn't vanish on the 18th. That's just when it was reported. She'd actually been gone since March 12th. The last time anyone saw her and Layla was that morning, March 12th, bright and early. After that, nothing. No sightings at noon, no glimpses at night. The trail went cold. Naturally, the police started questioning people. Neighbors, friends, anyone who might know something. Most folks said, "We've got no clue where she is." But one of Mishi's friends stepped forward with a lead. She told the cops on March 12th, Mishi and Layla were staying over at my place. And guess who else was there? Mishi's ex-boyfriend, Craig Land Warren. They crashed at my house that night. Now, Mishi and Craig, their relationship was a roller coaster. Sometimes they loved each other. Sometimes they couldn't stand the sight of one another. On again, off again, they'd break up, make up, you know the drill. So, that morning, the friend said she woke up and Mishi, Layla, and Craig were getting ready to leave. Mishi wanted to head back to her apartment with Layla, and Craig was set to go to his own place. According to the friend, they all had breakfast together. Then, Mishi and Layla hopped into Craig's car. He was supposed to drop them off at home. That's the plan, right? Craig Land Warren was the last person seen with them, so naturally, the police hauled him in for questioning. And here's what he had to say. Craig admitted, "Yeah, Mishi and I have our issues. Normal stuff couples fight, we break up, we get back together. That day, I was at her friend's house. I knew the place well, so I went over, hung out, spent the night. I tried talking to Mishi, smoothing things over. We've got histories sometimes. We clash, but we always find our way back. That night, everything felt fine. No big arguments, no drama. Her friend even told me, why don't you just crash here? Your place is far, you'd have to drive ages to get home." Mishi chimed in, "Yeah, I'm heading back to my place with Layla in the morning anyway. Why don't we all leave together?" So I agreed. Next morning, we had breakfast, piled into my car. Mishi, Layla, and Mian headed out. I dropped her off right at her apartment building. But here's where it gets interesting. Craig said, when we got there, Mishi told me, "I'm not going inside yet. Layla and I need to run to a store nearby, grab a few things, then we'll head home." I said, "Cool, no problem." I watched her get into her own car with Layla, and I drove off to my place. That was it. A few hours later, I swung by a friend's house, hit up a shop, then went home. After that, I didn't hear from Mishi or Layla again. The cops pressed him. "You didn't call her the next day, or the day after." It's March 18th when this gets reported, and she's been gone since the 12th. "You didn't think to check in?" Craig shrugged. "Our relationship's complicated. Not in a bad way, just. We don't talk every day. Sometimes we go for 5 days without a word, then pick up like nothing happened. It's just how we are." The detectives nodded. His story tracked nothing too suspicious yet. But Mishi's family, They weren't buying it. They were terrified, hounding the police daily for updates. Anything new? What's going on? Craig's story sounded logical, sure, but something felt off to them. They told the cops, this isn't normal. Mishi's a devoted mom. She'd never just vanish like this, especially with Layla. She's responsible, not reckless. There's no way she'd disappear for days without a word. We think Craig's hiding something. He's the last one who saw her. Now, between you and me, the lead detective had his doubts too. Craig was starting to look like a person of interest, but there was no hard evidence, no smoking gun. They couldn't just barge into his place without cause. No bodies, no crime scene, nothing to justify a search warrant yet. So, they pivoted. First stop, Mishi's apartment. The police went in, expecting something. Signs of a struggle, maybe, or proof she'd fled on her own. But it was normal. To normal. Dishes in the sink, toys scattered lived in, but not abandoned. No blood, no broken furniture. Then they found her car. It was parked near a shop in her neighborhood, empty. No bags, no clues. Not a drop of blood, not a single thing out of place. It was like she'd parked it and vanished. The cops circled back to Craig, grilling him again. Stick to your story, they asked. This time, he added a detail. When I dropped Mishi off, she and Layla got out of my car. She was juggling Layla and her stuff must have been distracted. She left her handbag in my car. I didn't notice until I got home. I tried calling her once, twice no answer. I figured she was busy, so I let it slide. Got caught up with work and friends, forgot to follow up. The detective raised an eyebrow. Her bag's still with you? Craig nodded. Yeah, in my car. They searched it sure enough. There it was. Just a handbag. Makeup, odds and ends, nothing major. No phone, no wallet. Ordinary. But who's Craig Warren, really? Dig deeper and the plot thickens. Craig's the son of a judge who, back in 2009, got busted for forgery. He'd abused his position, faking documents, stealing property, you name it. Caught, jailed, the works. Craig. Married once, 2 daughters, now divorced. His girls live with his ex-wife. He'd been living a quiet life until this. And here's the kicker. Before the divorce, his ex-wife tried wiring $25,000 to Mishi. Yeah, that Mishi, the missing one we're talking about. What's the connection between Craig's ex and his current girlfriend? The police dug into it. Turns out, Craig's ex worked at a bank, and she wasn't clean. She'd been skimming accounts, $1,000 here, $1,000 there until she'd racked up $25,000. She stashed it in her own account, then transferred it to Mishi's. Mishi got the cash, hit the bank, withdrew it all, and left. Guess who was in the car with her? Craig's ex-wife. The two of them were in on it, stealing from bank customers, splitting the profits. Was Craig the mastermind, keeping his hands clean while his ex and Mishi did the dirty work? In 2023, the ex got nabbed for theft, jailed. Mishi, still missing, so no arrest there. And Craig, they locked him up too, because back in Arkansas, he'd been accused of murdering a 50-year-old man. Here's that story. The guy was last seen in Craig's car. Craig claimed the man demanded money he didn't have. The guy pulled a gun, things escalated, and Craig turned it on him. Self-defense, he said. The man died, and Craig didn't stop there. He drove to a forest, dumped the body, and took off. Hikers found the corpse. Cops traced it back to Craig, and he got arrested. Admitted it was an accident, got 7 years, but he was out on bail. Where'd he go next? Washington. That's where he met Mishi and Layla. Same old tricks, new prey. Back to the case. Washington police nabbed Craig again. They searched his place. Nothing odd, except a gun. The gun, the one tied to the Arkansas killing. Then they checked his car, this time thoroughly, hidden in the cracks. Blood. 2 samples. One matched Layla, the other Mishi. Craig denied everything. Not me. Maybe my ex did it. There was bad blood over Layla's custody. They tracked down the ex-wife, remarried, concerned about Layla, but clean. No link to the disappearance. Then, late October, a breakthrough. A hiker in the woods stumbled on something odd. Thought it was a dead animal at first, till he got closer. 2 bodies, a woman and a child. Shot dead, bullets to the head. It was Mishi and Layla. Craig was the prime suspect. He swore he didn't do it. I loved them, how could I? But his phone told a different story. Searches for how to remove blood from a car. Places cops won't look. Calls to a friend. I need a spot to hide a gun somewhere safe. The friend didn't help. Plus, $4,000 transferred from Mishi's account to his phone. Last ping. The forest where the bodies were found. Craig cracked under pressure, spinning a new tale. We left her friend's place. Everything was fine. I gave Mishi my gun for protection, since she lived alone with Layla. We're driving, chatting, when she opens the glove box and finds my spare phone. Goes ballistic. You've got 2 phones. You cheating on me? She grabs the gun, waving it around. I'm driving. Layla's in the back. I'm freaking out. I pull over, trying to calm her down. She's screaming, won't listen. Suddenly, bang. A shot hits Layla in the head. Mishi freezes, horrified. Before I can stop her, another shot Layla again. Then Mishi turns the gun on herself. I tried to grab it, but she was gone. I panicked, drove to the woods, dumped them. I didn't know what else to do. The cops didn't buy it. Too convenient. Craig was convicted life in prison for murdering Mishi and Layla. Motive. Maybe the money has cut of their bank scheme. His ex got 2 years for theft. The Arkansas killing. 7 years tacked on. And that's today's case, folks. Thanks for listening. Stay safe out there.